fires deep upfield. It is caught by Diebold at the 45. He's knocked out of bounds around midfield, and he almost got enough for the first down. I believe he was knocked out just in time by Jim Troja, number 47, just short of the first down. Well, they're going to call him out further upfield. Apparently, he must have stepped out of bounds before he was tackled. It'll be 4th down and about 5, and Mayfield will be forced to punt.
That just showed why they consider Dave Diebold one of the most desirable Division I prospects in the area. The way he stretched out his knowledge of the football field trying to find it. Unfortunately, he stepped out a little early.
Diebold to punt once again. A high hanging kick taken by Julian at the 23, and he gets to the 25. And then he's thrown down by a horde of Mayfield tacklers. Dennis Polomsky, number 14, once again was chief among them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like you said, Joe, that was a very, very high kick. Julian really didn't have any chance at all to get anything out of that. His coverage was down on him as soon as he touched it. Fine punting by this Mayfield team, who I understand has a strong kicking game all the way around.
Okay. 1st and 10 for Mayfield. Or not for Mayfield, for West G at the 25-yard line. Quinlan gives the ball to Julian on the sweep, going to the right side, and Julian is thrown down for a loss. Once again, the Mayfield defense coming through with some outstanding penetration. This game, at least in its early portions, has been dominated by the defense, John.
Yeah, very much so. So far, I'll tell you, who's really impressed me is that West Geauga defensive line. Incidentally, that tackle was made by one of the big guns for Mayfield, 66 Paul Long, who besides having size, showed he can slice in there with good speed also.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, John. 2nd down and 13. Rolling to his right is Quinlan, and his pass is a bit wide, intended out there for Greg Sabraco. As you see, our intrepid Cablevision camera crew covering the action down there. It'll be 2nd down, actually make it 3rd down, and about 14 for the West G Wolverines, back at their own 21-yard line.
Yeah, what I rudely interrupted you on before, Joe, was I wanted to point out the adjustments that this Mayfield team is making defensively. As they said, they all of a sudden shift around, try to confuse the offensive line of West Geauga, and it's something that they'll get used to as the game goes on, but it does throw you off initially.
Roethlisberger wide to the left, Sabraco wide to the right, Blasey tight to the right, and the give instead is to Nick Lorenzo, and Lorenzo takes it across the 25 out to about the 30-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and West Geauga once again will be forced to punt, and Matt Blasey, the senior tight end, will do the kicking for the Wolverines. Deep to receive for Mayfield, becoming a very familiar duo here. Number 11, Michael White, and number 8, Mark Angolia. They've done all the returning tonight for the Mayfield Wildcats. Here's the snap, a low snap. Excuse me, that is not Blasey. That's number 43, Rick Rowan. And a fair catch is called for of that short punt by White at the 40-yard line. We'll be back after this timeout here for Geauga County football on Cablevision.
Hello, I'm Warren Babcock. Things have changed since
3 minutes and 29 seconds to play here in quarter number 1. No score here at Stretch Howell Field at West Geauga High School. And the give is up the middle to Angolia. And once again, Mark Angolia stung in the middle of the line by the West Geauga defense after a short gain. Leif Johnson, number 52, in on the tackle, along with number 78, Mike Petronis. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
I'll tell you, Petronis is playing a very, very smart end tonight. He seems to be containing when he has to. He's one of the people that read that screen pass. He's shooting in. He's just playing a good side, just as the rest of that defensive line. They're impressive this far.
Diebold now tight to the right, wide to the left is Perko, wide to the right is White. Here's the pitch again to Angolia, sweeping right, 45, 50, into West Geauga territory at the 45-yard line, and he's thrown down there by number 22, Brett Schultz, the senior linebacker. It'll be a 1st down for Mayfield in West Geauga territory at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Angola is an impressive runner. He's not impressive in the style of or Patterny, who we saw last week, who was just explosive, but he sure does a job. Angola just weaves around, doesn't have the blazing speed, gets the job done, which is about all you can ask out of a football player.
Well, Patterny's more of a slasher. Angolia is kind of a weaver there. Diebold tight to the left. Wide to the left is White. Wide to the right is Perko. Farinacci to throw upfield. It is overthrown. Oh, what an unbelievable catch. Bill Koch had that ball right in his hands. Number 11 had the interception right there. It went right out of his hands and into the outstretched arms of Michael, or not Michael White. It was Joe Perko who made the play. Unbelievable catch by Perko. What concentration. And Mayfield has a first down at the West G 23-yard line.
Like you said, Joe, that's tremendous concentration by Perko, because it's tough. You're geared for a ball supposedly being in one place. Once it's tipped, that throws you off tremendously, but he adjusted well, and that shows why he's playing the end position.
First and 10 at the 23-yard line, just under 2 minutes to play here in the quarter. And the give is to Angolia, who breaks through a couple of tackles, and finally Brett Schultz throws him down around the 18-yard line. Flags fly after the play is over. Once again, Angolia showed some power there in addition to his weaving ability. He ran right through those tackles.
Yeah, he is a strong running back. Like I said, that was a nice play by Brett Schultz, catching him from behind like that. I don't know exactly why they didn't catch him initially, but the angle he came in from must have been a safety blitz going on for West Geauga, for Schultz to circle around behind him and grab him. But he showed tremendous speed on that.
Personal foul against West Geauga takes the ball half the distance to the goal. It'll be first and goal for Mayfield just inside the West G 10-yard line. Diebold is an up back there, and it looks like he's going to stay in that. Now he comes to the slot left, tight to the left. Wide to the left is Perko. Wide to the right is White. Here's the give to Angolia. Angolia across the 5, fights his way to the 2-yard line. He's thrown down there by Jim Troha, and it'll be a long gain of 8 yards. It'll be second and goal for Mayfield at the West Geauga 2-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the time where the West Geauga defensive line and secondary also would need to make penetration, freeze Mayfield if they can, but they definitely have their backs to the wall with this second down situation and just 2 to the goal line.
Second and goal at the 2-yard line. Angolia now in the slot left. And the give is to the lone setback of Mayfield, and that was Tony Fraboda, who took the ball inside the 1 down round the goal line. He stopped short by the middle of the West Geauga line. In particular, number 44, Rick Salk. It'll be third and goal. Now they spot the ball just outside the West Geauga 1.
Yeah, I believe that's the first time Fraboda has touched the ball tonight, which showed it's either been a passing offense by Farinacci or just hand the ball to Angola, let him do his thing.
Angola left and Fraboda right in the tee behind Tim Farinacci. Now they shift into an I with Angolia, the back man. Here's the give to Angolia. Touchdown, Mayfield. And the Wildcats take the lead 6-0 with 8 seconds to play here in quarter number 1. It's Mayfield 6, West Geauga nothing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that hole was created by Paul Long, the guard, and Dave Lisistico, the tackle. The 2 big guns on the right side we were talking about, and they open up a nice hole for Angola to just pretty much walk into the end zone.
Both of those gentlemen are considered to be Division I players. And now in to do the kicking for Mayfield, number 7, Todd Toms. His kick is up, and it is good. So Toms adds the extra point, a 2-yard run by Angolia. With the extra point by Toms, we have timeout on the field. 8 seconds to play here in the first quarter. It's Mayfield 7, West Geauga nothing, and we'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. Left sideline taken by Julian, 15, 20, 25, across the 30, over the 35, and out of bounds up around the 40-yard line. They'll mark him out at about the 37. A group of Mayfield players making that tackle, and now some action going on over on the sidelines, but a fine return. It'll be first and 10 at the 37-yard line, and we'll have about 1 play, and then that'll do it for our first quarter, John. Interesting first quarter here at Stretch Howell Field.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with it. As you mentioned, short of that drive, which really wasn't that long in length because Mayfield kind of won the kicking game and ended up with good field position. It was defensively dominated first quarter.
Wide to the left for West G comes Tim Roethlisberger. Wide to the right is Greg Sabraco. Now he comes in motion left. Tight to the right is Blasey. Quinlan to throw. Steps into the pocket. Fires down the sideline. It is incomplete. Intended down there for Sabraco. And that will be the end of the first quarter, I believe. Well, yes, it is. That's the end of the first quarter. The quarter number 1 is history here at Stretch Howell Field in Chesterland, Ohio. With our score at the end of 1, Mayfield 7, West Geauga nothing. We'll be back after this timeout. Geauga Fitness and Racket Club. Down in about 6 for West G.
There was an interesting little strategic move on that one by Coach Posca, I guess. He put in a play where there was a change of direction on the motion man. Started his left, shifted to the right, caught Mayfield in the midst of one of their line shifts, and they immediately, when they saw him go the other way, shifted back the other way. It was interesting little strategic football.
Wide to the left is Roethlisberger, in the slot right Sabraco. Rolling to his left now is John Quinlan. He has plenty of room to the outside, 45, and he has run out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. It will be close to a first down, but I believe he's going to come up a little bit short. Once again, he was run out by our man, Dennis Polumsky, along with Joe Perko, doing some both ways playing here tonight for Mayfield. And whether he got a first down or not will depend on where the referees spotted the ball. And we're going to have a measurement.
Yeah, I think that was like that play I talked about on quarterback Finacci for Mayfield before, where he rolled out, tried to throw the ball when he had the whole lane open. And that one, quarterback Quinlan of West Geauga made the right choice. He ran the ball because he had the open lane. The secondary men all dropped off. He had wide open territory. It just remains to see if he got enough. And he did.
And he did.
So it definitely was the right choice. Wouldn't you say, Joe?
Well, you know, we could see it developing from our vantage point here. John Quinlan rolled to his left, and he had all kinds of room on the left side of the field. You know, so I figured, hey, why throw it when I don't have to take any chances? I can just run right up the field for a first down.
Exactly. That's smart football. Take what they give you.
First and 10 for West G at the 47-yard line. Wide to the left for the Wolverines comes Chris Veras. Now Veras is on the inside. Wide of him to the left is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. The give to Julian, crossing the right side. Fights his way across midfield to the 49-yard line of Mayfield. A gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6. Dan DeLuca, number 24, made the tackle.
I'll tell you, on that particular play, I looked, and one of those two-tower defensive ends was standing right there. So Julian definitely made the right choice. The hole didn't develop that well over the tackle spot, but it beat running dead into one of the big guys there. So he got a good gain out of that, though.
There is some real size on this Mayfield team, I'll tell you. Here's the pitch to Julian, cutting to his left. Gets to about the 48-yard. Oh, he fought his way right through the middle of that pile up at the 49-yard line and rolled for a first down to the Mayfield 42. A pretty piece of running by Julian. It's a West Geauga first and 10.
Yeah, I tell you, Dan DeLuca for Mayfield cut in the backfield on a blitz from his linebacker position. Almost had him. Might have thrown off the timing of that play just a little bit. And I don't know, that's just unfortunate that he fumbled, but fortunate he got it right back.
First and 10 for West G at the West G 42-yard line. In the slot left is Sabraco, tight to the left, Blasey. The give cutting across to Rick Rowan, and Rowan fights his way across the 40 to the 35-yard line. Another good gain for West Geauga. In on the tackle for Mayfield was Anthony Capadonna, number 51. It'll be second and 3 for the Wolverines at the Mayfield 35-yard line.
Again, good running by Rowan. Got a decent gain out of that where basically there wasn't that much. He had to make his own little lane there. Keep an eye on those two defensive ends. They just stay in their position, and I don't think West Geauga is going to have an easy time on sweeps tonight.
Once again, the give is to Julian, I believe. No, that's Rowan who carried the ball, isn't it? Rick Rowan carried it to about the 35-yard line. This time he only picked up about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Rowan was substituting for Julian, who went out for a couple plays there, but Rowan did a good journeyman's job of filling in for him. Be interesting. John Julian has got to turn it off. He's the key, like I mentioned earlier, for this West Geauga offense. He's got to make it happen. 3rd down and 3 yards to go. In the slot left is Sabraco. Tight to the left is Blasey.
Wide to the right is Varus, and the give goes off the right tackle to Rick Salk, number 44. And Rick Salk is down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line, and he picked up enough for a West G first down. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, this is a nice drive by West Geauga for 2 reasons. One, it's a good time-consuming drive, holding onto the ball, keeping it safe, grabbing the 5-6 yards whenever they can. Number 2, it's important to them to establish themselves in this game, get the offense going, answer Mayfield back. Even if they don't get in the end zone, they're showing they can move against them.
1st and 10 for West G at the Mayfield 30-yard line. Quinlan in heavy traffic at the backfield, and he's thrown down on the blitz. I don't know whether they're going to call that an incomplete pass or whether they're going to say he was in the grasp back there. Firing through on the blitz was Tony Fraboda, number 42, and he was in the backfield before John Quinlan could say uncle, and now we have a flag on the field.
That could be for grounding. That's the only thing I can imagine, but I don't see that as a grounding play at all. He threw it at the feet of one of his backs. That's what they're calling it.
I think that's what they're going to say.
I don't know if I would agree with that call. Would you, Joe?
No, I don't know, guys. I wouldn't go along with that, I'm
It was
afraid.
smart football. He was trying to save being sacked, but he played within the rules. He threw it in the vicinity of an eligible receiver. I don't really see why that was called intentional grounding.
That's what they're calling it, intentional grounding. Of course, it's also a loss of down and loss of plenty of yardage. Take the ball back to the 41-yard line. And it'll be 2nd down for West Geauga and forever, or if you prefer, 22 yards for the Wolverines.
I see Coach Posguy trying to get a referee's attention to question the call, but it won't do any good.
Mike Posguy, not surprisingly, is not thrilled by that turn of events. Pitching it out to the left now is Julian across the 40, 35, 30. There he goes, Jim Julian. Touchdown, West Geauga.
There you go. That's what we needed. John Julian opening it up, answering back. We got Julian and Goliath tonight matching up beautifully. Nice running. Julian started the outside. They swept. They did a job at the defensive end. Cornerback came up to fill in the spot, took away the outside, but Julian, being a good heads-up runner, cut it back against the grain to the inside. 6 points. Good job of running by John Julian. Good blocking out front by the left side of that West Geauga offensive line.
I hope I didn't say Jim, but I have a funny feeling that I have confused John a couple of times with his older brother, Jim. That was John Julian, not Jim Julian. Anyway, with 8:20 to play here in the first half, you see it's 7-6. And let me remind you that there are 24 United Way agencies in and around Geauga County which serve people in need of care. Thanks to the folks of Geauga and neighboring vicinities, the greater Cleveland community is #1 in per capita giving among United Way organizations across the nation. But despite your understanding record of generosity, the documented needs for health and human services in this community alone continue to escalate at a rate faster than the amount of funds being raised to meet those needs. Your charitable dollars will help support area programs such as the ABC Daycare Center in Chagrin Falls, the American Cancer Society, the American Red Cross, the Catholic Service Bureau, the Geauga Family Services, the Lake Geauga Center on Alcoholism, and many, many more, all concerned with helping those in need of care. Remember, thanks to United Way, it works for all of us. Give to United Way. Oh, West Geauga now with a chance to tie up the ball game. And in to do the kicking is Chris Moore, number 85, a sophomore. And a bad snap. The ball is down low, and we're not even going to have an attempt. West G had some problems with the kicking game last week, and they have, again, come back to haunt the West G team right now. So we have timeout on the field as the missed extra point creates some problems there. Timeout on the field. Our score, Mayfield 7, West Geauga 6. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision. To kick off for the Wolverines, it's a high short kick taken down there by Michael White. White across the 20, 25, 30, 35, and he spins out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. A fine return by number 11, Michael White. Mayfield will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line.
Yeah, that return is made possible. Mayfield set up a nice wall left on that one. Got him through. West Geauga, though, is showing good team quickness because they got blocked out on the wall. The wall was set up. They spun off their block, circled around to the opening of the wall, and were waiting en masse for the kick returner. A real good job of coverage, actually, by West Geauga Wolverines.
1st and 10 for Mayfield at the Mayfield 37-yard line. White in the slot right, wide to the right is Perko, and somebody moved a count too early, and it'll cost the Mayfield Wildcats 5 yards.
Yeah, I think cornerback Bill Coach came up from his cornerback position there, stunted. There was a little shifting on the offensive line, so that was induced by good heads-up defensive play by Bill Coach. Many times you can do things like that and draw penalties. Quarterbacks can do that quite often with counts signals, slowing it down, speeding it up, just changing their pace. That was done by just shifting around in the defense.
1st and 15 for Mayfield. Again, the pitch to Angolia across the 35 out to the 37, possibly the 38-yard line, thrown out of bounds by Darryl Kalura along with Mike Petronis. It'll be 2nd down and 11 yards to go, maybe even just a long 10 for Mayfield.
I'll tell you one thing Angola does that's kind of impressive. Upon impact, he kind of balls up, goes into a low target, making himself tough to grab hold of, and that just gives him a little more elusivity.
2nd down and 11. Wide to the right is White. Wide to the left is Perko. Rolling to his right is Farinacci. Under heavy pressure he throws, and it is in and out of the hands of Dave Diebold at the 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, I think in that particular one, it was a case of not in and out of the hands, Joe. Never touch his hands. Hit him right in the chest, and you can't do that. You got to cradle passes with your hands, pull them in, because chests are hard, shoulder pads are hard, and the ball tends to bounce away from there. So that wasn't a real good reception attempt by N. Diebold.
3rd down and just a little more than 10 for West G. Or not for West G, Mayfield. Wide to the right is White. Wide to the left is Perko. Tight to the right is Diebold. Rolling to his right again is Farinacci. Steps into the pocket, fires it long downfield. A poorly thrown pass wide of everybody. The intended receiver was number 11 of Mayfield, Michael White, who was covered by number 11 of the West Geauga Wolverines, Bill Koch.
And I'll tell you, the total battle ended up being 11 plus 11 equals a win for West Geauga in that play. Bill Couch did a good job of pass coverage on that one. Had him blanketed. There really wasn't any place for him to go. He shielded him from behind. Somebody was trailing, so they kind of have him sandwiched, and there wasn't any attempt. It had been an absolutely perfect pass, which on this level of play, I don't believe we could have.
We had a penalty against Mayfield, a holding penalty with 4th down coming up. West Geauga will decline it and force Mayfield to punt, and once again Dave Diebold will be forced on to do duty as the punter. We'll see who drops deep to receive this time for West Geauga, and once again it is John Julian, number 31, along with number 8, Steve Darris. A pair of seniors back there to return kicks for the West G Wolverines. The snap is a good one. Diebold gets a high end-over-end kick. Darris calls for a fair catch, which he makes at the West G 26-yard line, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Wolverines of West Geauga at the 26. And this is a good time right now for me to remind you about all the wonderful things here at Cablevision. The folks at Cablevision want to remind you that for the best variety and economy, our rainbow packages provide the most for your entertainment dollar. Call our customer service department at 946-2722 or 285-3188 for more information on rainbow programming and the complete home entertainment. 1st and 10 for West G. Quinlan pitches the ball to Julian across the 25-30 out to about the 33-yard line. Good gainer for West Geauga on that play. Julian thrown down by Rich Wojtacek, number 41. It'll be 2nd down and 4 yards to go for West Geauga.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there was good up-front blocking on that play. You had the pulling guard and tackle, Steve Henk and Frank Talaco, leading the play on that to get a sizable gain out of it. So far, the offensive line of West G, though they were slow in starting to kick it in a little bit and looking very, very good.
Wide to the left is Sabraco. Wide to the right is Veris. Tight to the left is Blasey. Again, the pitch to Julian, and he is stood up in the backfield and thrown down by a horde of Mayfield players. Chief among them, Rich Wojtacek, number 41. and it'll be 3rd down and 4 for West G at the West G 32-yard line.
Yeah, that play illustrated one thing. With the size that Mayfield has, you really can't run into their power. I think West Geauga tonight would be better off going wide side of the field where they can cut back against it, nullify it with speed, moves, etc., because going right at their power, you're not going to move them out of there very easily because they got some big, sizable, strong boys out there.
And we're going to have a timeout now called for by West Geauga as Mike Posguy calls over John Quinlan to discuss some strategy on this 3rd and 4 play. John, I'll tell you, I think at this point of the game, I really believe that the momentum right now is favoring West Geauga.
I believe so.
They had some rocky places early in the game. They weathered the storm. That penalty, which really could have thrown them for a loop, Julian came right out and made that great play on that run, got them out of that hole, you know, got them to believe in themselves a little more, and I think that the effects are showing right now, and ever since that run, West Geauga has controlled this football game.
I'd have to agree with your assessment, and that definitely works towards West Geauga's advantage. Mayfield has a lot of two-way starters out there, and as we start to get into the 3rd quarter and etc., they're going to get a little tired. West Geauga, on the other hand, has been watering it down, rotating a lot of their stocks. They're fresher players. Near the end of the game, they should be fresher. If West Geauga can stay in at this early point of the game, I think at the end they could be a strong factor.
Roethlisberger wide to the left, wide to the right. Sabraco. Quinlan fires. It's intercepted. It is intercepted, and that will be a touchdown for Mayfield. It's number 30, Mike Dobeck. Mike Dobeck with a touchdown for Mayfield on the interception. Very similar to a play that we saw last week out in Chardon, John, where George Zero threw the ball right to Bill Henderson. Basically the same play right here. John Quinlan just threw the ball right to Mike Dobeck, and the result is a Mayfield touchdown.
Yeah, that time it was not quite as bad as last week's we saw, because Henderson was standing in the middle of the wide side of the field all by himself. We don't know how he missed seeing him. That one he was pretty sheltered. He was mixed in with other players, and it just was an unfortunate pass for quarterback Quinlan.
Todd Toms will attempt the extra point to hold as Dennis Polomsky. The ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. So Toms 2 for 2 on conversions this evening. 6 minutes and 33 seconds to play here in the first half with our score, Mayfield 14, West Geauga 6.
This month on Cape
of West Geauga receivers deep to receive. Greg Sabraco, number 37, is closest to you. It's closest to your screen. John Julian, number 31 in the middle. And down on the left is Rick Rowan, who will take the ball, number 43 on the far side. 10, 15, 20, 25. He's thrown out of bounds right at about the 25-yard line by a horde of Mayfield tacklers. It'll be 1st and 10 for West Geauga at the 25-yard line.
You know, one thing I didn't get the opportunity to mention before, in the last punt that Mayfield made, and I don't know if the coaches up in the booth here picked it up or not, but I'd be interested to see if West Geauga goes after it. Mayfield kept one back to do the blocking and stuff like that, and he released very, very early. So if I was the Mayfield coaches, notice that occasion, I'd come after the next punt Mayfield makes. We'll see if that happens.
Wide to the left comes Sabraco, and the give is up the middle to Julian across the right side, as a matter of fact, over the 25 out to about the 29-yard line. Picked up 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Number 63, Joe Fornero, in on the play for Mayfield. It'll be 2nd down and 6 yards to go.
Yeah, from early on here, I can discover it seems that Mayfield runs right-handed best, meaning they go to the right side on their offense. West Geauga, on the other hand, seems to be more or less a left-handed team. I don't know if that's a cutting ability of the backs or what, but we'll have to note that.
Once again, coming to the left is Julian, makes a nice cut across the 30-yard line, but he's thrown down beautifully on a brilliant, brilliant open field tackle there by Chuck Amato, number 3, a 2-year letterman for Mayfield. And Amato stopped that from being a first down. Would have been a first down. In fact, would have been a lot more had Julian been able to turn the corner. Instead, it's 3rd and 1.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one, Joe. If it hadn't been for that saving tackle by Amato, Julian just might have gone all the way on that one. There was another back in the vicinity, but Julian is one of those backs that got the quick, sharp moves, and it possibly could have eluded him. Went down for another long touchdown runs, but we'll never know about that because Amato an all-league safety, did his job.
Wide to the left comes Roethlisberger. Wide to the right is Sabraco. The give is to Nick Lorenzo. Lorenzo takes the ball to the 35-yard line, and that should be enough for him to pick up a West Geauga first down. Yes, it is. It is a first down for West G at the 35-yard line. And on the tackle, number 30, Mike Dobeck, the recent hero for Mayfield, along with number 64, Jim DeLella. It's 1st and 10.
Yeah, last year, this West Geauga team was snake bit. They had turnovers, penalty at the wrong time. I suppose they had the same thing in their opener, as I understand, against Bedford last week. Thus far, they've been playing a pretty good ball game, though, as far as being air-free.
Varus comes wide to the left in the slot. Right is Sabraco. Rolling to his left is Quinlan, looking upfield to throw. His pass is incomplete. It went right between two West Geauga receivers, Lorenzo, number 36, and Blasey, number 13. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, I saw they double-teamed the right defensive end for Mayfield, Paul Long, who's 6'5", 240 that particular play, and he still broke through it, got to the quarterback Quinlan just as he released the ball, and so Quinlan, I'm sure, is thinking about that. Hopefully not enough to offset his fine game he's been playing so far.
2nd down and 10. Wide to the left is Roethlisberger. In the slot right is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. Lorenzo left. Julian right. In the T behind Quinlan, here's the give to Julian across the 40, 45, up to the 49-yard line, possibly midfield. Thrown down there by Chuck Amato and Joe Perko, number 3 and number 2, respectively, along with number 41, Rich Vodasek. It'll be a 1st and 10 for West G at the West G 49-yard line.
I'll tell you, the left side of that line again, open up a nice little lane right over the Steve Hank, the tackle position. That seems to be their hole. The off-tackle play, they seem to block it well, give it a little lane for the running backs to do their stuff and get sizable gains out of it. Good up-front blocking by West Geauga.
Wide to the left comes Varus, and the slot right is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. Lorenzo left, Julian right in the T behind quarterback John Quinlan, who gives the ball to Julian, and Julian is wrapped up right at midfield by a horde of Mayfield tacklers. Chief among them, number 63, Joe Fornero, along once again with Rich Vodasek, number 41. It'll be 2nd down, a very narrow gain, we'll call it a yard. 2nd and 1 for West G at the midfield stripe.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mayfield, I don't know what their defense was like last year, but they're playing like a Chicago Bear type. They bring all their linebackers up tight on the line. Seems every play they're shooting 1, maybe 2 of them.
Wide to the left is Roethlisberger. Wide to the right is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. Back in the pocket, Quinlan throwing to the outside. It is incomplete, and that's an interesting no call there. The intended receiver down there was number 37, Greg Sabraco. Looked to me like he was hammered in the back by a Mayfield defender. Referees didn't quite see it the same way.
Yeah, I think what they were looking at is True was going on his back, but his hands were reaching out to go for the ball, which makes it perfectly legal.
Now we're going to have a timeout. West Geauga once again will burn a timeout as Mike Posguy wants to discuss strategy with John Quinlan on this 3rd down play. Meanwhile, we will take a timeout. 3 minutes and 19 seconds to play in the first half with our score. Mayfield 14, West Geauga 6. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision.
Geauga Fitness.
Wide to the left comes Varus. In the slot right is Sabraco. Rolling to his left is Quinlan. He steps up and fires down the sideline, and it is incomplete. Down the sideline, intended there for number 19, Chris Varus. It'll be 4th down, and West Geauga will be forced to punt. And once again, number 43, Rick Rowan, will come on to do the kicking.
That's unfortunate. The offensive line gave good protection to quarterback Quinlan that time. He just underthrew the pass a little bit, and it was almost picked off by cornerback Joe Perko.
Rowan again to kick, deep to receive for Mayfield is Mark Angolia, number 8, and Michael White, number 11. And the left footer Rowan gets off a high sailing punt taken by Angolia at the 17. He gets out to the 20-yard line, and he's thrown down on an outstanding pursuit by the West Geauga special teams after a gain of 3 yards up to the 20. It'll be 1st and 10 for Mayfield at the Mayfield 20-yard line.
Yeah, that was real good coverage, especially by Lorenzo, who got downfield real quick, hit him around the legs, slowed him down so the rest of the West Geauga coverage team could get down and make the tackle properly. It was a real good defensive play by Lorenzo and the rest of the Wolverines also.
First and 10 for Mayfield. We'll spot the ball at the 18-yard line now. Wide to the left comes Perko. Wide to the right is White. Tight to the right is Diebolt. And once again, Farinacci hands the ball to Angolia, and Angolia hit after a short gain, maybe up as far as the 20-yard line, and then the West Geauga defense really closed the door on him. Number 14, Jeff Pitcock. Number 11, Bill Koch, in on the tackle. It'll be second down, let's call it 9 for Mayfield.
Yeah, we had the whole middle of that line plugged it up. Callow came in, Pitcock, like Joe was saying, shot in from his linebacker position. Formicelli came up and did a fine job. They just stopped it, made a penetration of the backfield, a good defensive stunt.
Second and 9 for Mayfield. Farinacci rolls to his left, looking to throw. Steps up, fires, and it is caught. That is Perko. Perko across the 45 up to the 49-yard line. And he's finally brought down there by number 88, Mike Kristoff, but it's a long gainer for Mayfield. Give Mayfield 31 yards on that play, and it's first and 10 for the Wildcats at the Mayfield 49-yard line.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's the first time. I didn't see the pattern that Perko ran on that one, but that's the first breakdown in the secondary of the West Geauga Wolverines I've seen tonight. They've been doing a fine job up till now.
First and 10 for Mayfield. Diebolt tight to the left. In the slot right is Angolia. Farinacci again rolling to his right to throw, looking for a receiver. Fires. It is caught out there by a wide open Perko at the 31-yard line. And again, Joe Perko has a first down.
Yeah, cornerback Mike White, Bill Koch, coach, came up on that particular play to do it. It almost looks like Coach Poe's guy put him into a semi-prevent defense. The backs seem to be playing off a little bit more than they were earlier, giving that inside room so the receivers can hook it to the inside, get a gain out of it, and they're turning sizable and moving down the field rather rapidly.
Minute and 36 seconds to play here in the first half. Wide to the right is White. Wide to the left is Perko. Tight to the right is Diebolt. In the slot left is Angolia. Farinacci in the pocket to throw. Fires down the sideline. It is underthrown and intercepted by Bill Koch across the 5, over the 10, still on his feet, across the 15 to the 16-yard line as flags fly, and West Geauga has the turnover and a first down.
Just as I said, West Geauga was playing loose in the secondary. They tightened up. Coach that time was actually right on the shoulder, stepped in front. Good pass coverage by Bill Koch. Good interception. Keeps the ball. I assume that West Geauga, with only a minute 26 left, will play it fairly safe. Just do the off-tackle plays and all, eat up the clock, go into the halftime with the score as it is. Because you got a long way to go downfield to try to get into the end zone.
On top of the fact that there was a clip on the run back called against West Geauga, that'll take them even further back. Now inside the 10-yard line to the 8. That's where the Wolverines will take over first and 10. Let me remind you that we will have all the action at halftime, which, as you can see, is only a minute and 14 seconds away. We'll have the outstanding West Geauga High School marching band and majorettes, one of the finest in the nation, along with the fine Mayfield marching band that's here tonight. There's the give to Nick Lorenzo. Lorenzo across the 15, out to the 16-yard line. So it'll be a fine halftime show here on Cablevision. Stay tuned for it. Gain of about 8 yards on the play by Lorenzo. It'll be second and 2.
Yeah, I see they must be going to the fullback on that play. Like I said, they'll probably go to a more safe offense, which means you utilize the fullback more. You don't have the long running. You won't get the long gains out of it for the most part because they're just quick hitting, not enough time to set up to open up the holes properly, but the handoffs are sure, etc., rather than the pitch outs to tailback Julian.
Second down and 2 for West G. Now under a minute to play. In fact, 23 seconds. The give is to Julian, kind of the outside. 20, 25. Knocked, well, I don't know whether they're going to call him inbounds or out of bounds to the 26-yard line. If they call him inbounds, it'll probably be the last play of the first half. And we'll see there is the clock continuing to run, Johnny?
No, it isn't.
Okay, so they must have called him out of bounds.
Yeah, I believe they must have called him out. I didn't see an indication for a timeout, so that was strictly an out of bounds, which froze the clock. This conceivably should be the last play of the half, and I expect West Geauga to hold it close to the belt.
You'll have to forgive me. I'm in a position where I cannot see the clock unless our intrepid Cablevision camera crew gives me a shot. The give is to Julian. Julian gets across the 30 to the 31, and that will be the end of the first half. So we have ended half number 1 here at Stretch Howell Field at West Geauga High School with our score. The Wildcats of Mayfield 14, the Wolverines of West Geauga 6. We'll be back with all the halftime festivities after this timeout on Cablevision. Geauga Fitness and Rec. Number 3, Mayfield 14, West Geauga 6. Todd Toombs will kick off for Mayfield. Deep to receive, a triumvirate of Greg Sabraco, number 37, John Julian, number 31, and Rick Rowan, number 43 for West Geauga from right to left. It's a high, short kick by Toombs. It'll be taken by an up-back, Nick Lorenzo. Lorenzo across the 30 to the 35-yard line, and it'll be a 1st and 10 at the 35.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if West Geauga can establish themselves early, get a drive going, get back on it, on a fine Mayfield team that they played basically short of the interception return, even the first half. I thought that West Geauga did an excellent job, especially the 2 guards, Frank Chalaco and Mike Stavnicki, and center Bill Van Horn, basically taking Dave Diebold out of the game.
1st and 10 for West G at the 39-yard line, or 34-yard line. The give is up the middle to Julian. Julian across the 35 to the 37. And it is a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for West Geauga.
Yeah, as I started to mention, Dave Diebold, who was supposed to be a dominant defensive player on this field, at first half we really didn't see much of him, so he must have been bunched up in the middle, not able to get into the action. That time they got a 3-yard gain out of it by running directly at him. They're doing a good job up front from that offensive line.
Varus wide to the left, coming in motion to the left is Sabraco. The pitch goes left to Julian. Flags are flying. Julian across the 40 to the 44-yard line, and he's thrown down there by a horde of Mayfield players. Chief among them, Dennis Polumsky, number 14. It'll be 2nd down, and we'll check out the penalty.
Yeah, it was a good little run by Julian on that one. He has a tendency to find that little seam wherever it develops and just cut into it, maximize every play. You give him just a little bit of the corner, create a little opening, he shoots full, gets something where there really isn't that much. Good running by Julian. Yeah, penalty goes against West Geauga in that play. Pushes them back, nullifies a reasonable good gain, makes it 2nd and 13 coming up for West Geauga.
2nd down and 13 for West Geauga. Wide to the left comes Roethlisberger. In the slot right is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. Left Julian, right Lorenzo in the tee, and the pass over the middle is caught by Matt Blasey at the 40-yard line. Gain of about 8 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, that was a good little play. As I mentioned earlier, like a first series for West Geauga, what they have to depend on is running a Julian and a connection between Quinn and Blasey. That's the first time we've seen a pass thrown to Blasey. He found a little seam in the secondary between where the linebackers drop off. Secondary goes deeper and stuff like that. Curled around in it, and Quinn hit him for a nice gain. Makes it 3rd down and reasonable.
3rd down, actually we'll call it 4 yards for West Geauga. Sabraco in motion left, the pitches to Julian, 40, 45, he's got a 1st down. He's run out of bounds across midfield at the 49-yard line of Mayfield. Dave Diebold was in on the tackle, number 89, the all-star tight end. It'll be 1st and 10 for West G across midfield at the Mayfield 49-yard line.
Yeah, it was good running by Julian on that particular play. Got him a little bit around the corner. He got his little lane opened up and showed very, very good acceleration to make a good sizable gain out of it. And we also had a penalty on that play. I didn't happen to see what that was, but it was thrown at the site where Julian went down, so I suppose it might be a personal foul.
Second half will start.
Did you happen to see what the call was on that play, Joe?
All I saw was a personal foul call. I don't know exactly what they were referring to down there. I must have missed what it was.
Yeah, I saw a flag thrown right where they took down Julian, so it might have been a little bit of piling on. We couldn't tell by the West Geauga players being there.
There's the give to Lorenzo. Lorenzo down to about the 31-yard line, thrown down by number 30, the hero Mike Dobek, who returned an interception 34 yards for a touchdown in the second quarter for Mayfield. That was a key play in this ball game because West G really had it going before that interception, and it gave Mayfield not only a second win but a much bigger lead. Second down and 7 at the 32-yard line. Wide to the right is Veras. Tight to the left is Blasey. In the slot right, Sabraco coming in motion left. Julian, the is the eye back, and the give is to Julian, and there he goes again across the 10, down near the 5-yard line. We'll call it the 7, actually, where he was knocked down. It's another West Geauga first down.
I'll tell you, that time it was created over the guard tackle position. The blocking done by Mike Fortenbaugh and, Bob Fortenbaugh and Mike Stavnicki, who opened up a nice lane. Julian again showed that good acceleration, hit it quick, got deep in the secondary, and this drive is exactly what was made to order for West G. Establish the offense, and they're moving in maybe for a score.
First and goal from the 7 for West Geauga. Quinlan pitches the ball to Rick Rowan. Rowan across the 10, down around the 5. He was hit in the backfield and then wrapped up by number 51, Anthony Capadonna. Diebold hit him in the backfield, but he was unable to make the tackle, make the final hit at least. Capadonna made the finishing hit. It'll be second and goal for West G at about the 5-yard line.
Yeah, that time there was good pursuit by the linebackers who scraped along the line of scrimmage there, plugged up, so there was absolutely no place for the running back to go. Good job by the Mayfield defense.
Second and goal. Here's the give to Lorenzo. Lorenzo is thrown down right about at the line of scrimmage. Once again, Mike Dobeck in on the play along with Dave Diebold. And it'll be second, or make that third and goal for West G, just outside the Mayfield 5.
Yeah, it should be interesting on this play to see exactly what Coach Posguy calls. This could be a play where we see if he's going to set himself up for a field goal by running a little bit to the, say, right off tackle, so the ball will be centered on the field and he'll have a shot at his field goal, or if he just does something looking for 6.
Third and goal just outside the 5, in motion right is Sabraco. Here's the pitch to Julian and a fumble. Julian gets back on it, but he loses considerable yardage on the play. Dennis Polomsky, number 14, and also number 66, Paul Long, were over there to cover him up. That was going to be an option pass, but it didn't work. It'll be 4th down, and it looks right now like West G is going to go for it on this 4th and long play.
Yeah, on that particular play, I'd have to say Palumbo did a tremendous defensive job. Julian barely touched the ball, got hit, coughed it up. Fortunately, it landed in the area he could recover it.
What we're seeing here is a statement on the kicking game, frankly. Quinlan steps up, fires into the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. It is caught for the touchdown by Greg Sabraco, and West Geauga is on the board. It's 14-12.
Yeah, that was very good. They ran a little hook pattern by wingback Sirocco, caught him open. He was defended rather tightly, but he just stepped in front, caught the reception. Good pass by quarterback Quinn. Good catch by Sirocco. Puts West Geauga right back into this game. Established second half. We're talking about momentum earlier, Joe. Definitely have to say established it early, very much so, for West Geauga this particular half.
Talk about a clutch play. That was a big clutch play. Those are the kind of plays you have to have during the season if you're going to win ball games. West G going for 2. Wide to the right, Sabraco. Wide to the left is Roethlisberger. Quinlan back to throw, fires into the end zone. It's overthrown, intended for Mike Roethlisberger. Incomplete, so West G fails on the 2-point conversion. But an outstanding play. Quinlan to Sabraco. 14 yards for a touchdown on 4th down. We have timeout on the field. 6 minutes and 43 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. It's Mayfield 14, West Geauga 12. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision.
Done an excellent job. I can't say enough about what the Wolverines have done tonight.
Deep to receive for West G, Steve Darris, number 8, and John Julian, number 31, who will take the ball. The 25 is across the 30, 35, cutting to the outside, and he's thrown down at the 37-yard line. Thrown down there by number 41, Rich Vodasek. It'll be 1st and 10 for West G at the West G 37.
I tell you, Julian is having an outstanding ball game tonight, both in the returning of kicks and in the backfield, where he's been a good deal of West Geauga's offense. He's playing up to his levels. Last year, I believe he had over 800 yards rushing in only 9 games, as he sat out 1 with an injury. He's doing a good job tonight.
Twins on the right side with Roethlisberger up and Sabraco back. The give is to Julian. He fumbles, and Mayfield has it. It is Mayfield's football at the 43-yard line. John Julian had the ball knocked right out of his arms. It looked from here like Joe Perko, number 2, made the recovery. And it'll be a first down for Mayfield in West G territory at the 43-yard line. And now West Geauga is going to call for a timeout. And with 4 minutes and 28 seconds to play here in the third quarter, we will also call for a timeout here on Cablevision.
Hello, I'm Warren Babb.
Quarter, Mayfield after a big turnover, a John Julian fumble recovered by Joe Perko, and they have it 1st and 10 at the West Geauga 43. Mayfield leads it 14-12. Farinacci going down the sideline for Perko. It's underthrown and intercepted. It is intercepted by Rick Rowan, number 43, who played his safety position perfectly and came over to catch that underthrown toss from Farinacci. So turnabout is fair play, or you could say in this case, turnover is fair play, and West Geauga has the ball back, albeit deep in its own territory at the 15-yard line.
Who was that, Joe? Was that Jim Trona, number 47, on that play?
That was Rowan.
Oh, that was Rowan that came up and made that?
Number 43.
Okay, excellent defensive coverage. Again, like I mentioned earlier, that secondary is doing an outstanding job. They were weak last week. They made a heck of a turnaround this week.
Roethlisberger wide to the left, Sabraco wide to the right. The give is to Julian. Julian across the 15 out to about the 19-yard line. Thrown down there by big number 66, Paul Long. Paul Long is 6'5" and 241 pounds.
That's a lot of Paul. And long, it definitely fits him.
Yeah,
6'5" is long.
He's sure long, all right.
Yeah, he's playing a fine game on that defense. Both defensive ends are very, very impressive. Talked about them earlier as being some of the premier players for this Mayfield Wildcat squad.
2nd down and 7, and now we are going to have an official's timeout.
Yeah, we have an equipment adjustment.
Fix up some things. Yeah, we've got an equipment adjustment, a few things like that, and it's a good time for me to remind you that Cablevision sports fans should have plenty to cheer about all fall as we bring the best in Geauga County football each week to complement the college and professional football brought to you by, of course, the other cable channels on Cablevision. Special college games from across the nation can be seen Thursday and Saturdays on Channel 34, ESPN, and Channel 41, the USA Network. Get your front row seat with Cablevision and catch all the action.
I know what I'm going to be doing Sunday. We're seeing how those Browns make out against the Bears. What do you think about that, Joe?
Send in the Browns.
Yeah, that's a heck of an opener.
I'm afraid that's what it's going to look like. Put on my prognosticator's hat there. Send in the Browns. Rolling to his left is Quinlan, firing down the middle. It's overthrown and nearly intercepted. Dennis Polumsky, if he would have turned a little quicker, would have had it. And number 3, Chuck Amato, ran right past the ball.
Yeah.
And both of them had an excellent shot at intercepting it. But West Geauga gets a second chance, and it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, it looked like that same pass play to Blasey before that was completed. He was running essentially the same route. Mayfield this time recognized it and covered it rather well.
Roethlisberger wide to the left, wide to the right is Sabraco, tight to the right is Blasey. Quinlan back in the pocket, steps up, fires it long downfield. It is caught beautifully by Sabraco. There are flags all over the place. I think we're going to have an interference call on somebody. We'll find out who. It looks like it's going to be against Mayfield. The West G players are pointing that way. We'll find out. That was a beautiful catch by Greg Sabraco in heavy traffic of a poorly thrown ball by John Quinlan. Penalties against Mayfield. The play will stand, and West G has a first down.
Yeah, that was one heck of a catch by Sabraco, who is doing an outstanding job tonight coming out of that wingback position. I believe that's the second pass he's caught. We haven't seen him on any plays yet carry the ball, but I'm sure that will come about soon. Yeah, it's impressive. First couple of series, it looked like West Geauga just couldn't get anything going offensively. After that, they get drives sustained. They're moving along real well on there. And this is hitting the time where the playing both ways and for Mayfield should come into play. Mayfield two-way starters should be getting a little tired. That plays right into West Geauga's hands. We'll see if that develops.
1st and 10 for West Geauga. And I'll tell you something, John. I really think, based on the performance that we're seeing here tonight, West Geauga is a vastly improved football team over last year.
No question, Joe.
1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the 36-yard line. Quinlan pitches the ball to Julian, coming left. The defense comes up to meet him, but he gets away, but not for long. He's finally thrown down at about the 38-yard line. Joe Perko, number 2, missed him first, but then number 75, large Dave Lasitko, another big Mayfield player. 6'6" and 250 pounds made that tackle.
They do have some bulk, don't they, Joe?
They're growing them big and tall in Mayfield, Mayfield Village, Highland Heights, and Gates Mills these days. Here's the give by Quinlan to Rick Rowan. Rowan fights his way to the 40-yard line, tried to turn for some more yardage, but the Mayfield defense said nothing doing. Rich Vodasek in on the tackle. It'll be 3rd down for West Geauga, 3rd down and 6 for the Wolverines, just across the 40-yard line.
Tell you one vast improvement. Quarterback Quinn is doing an outstanding job also tonight. He's reading correctly, not making too many bad throws. He had the 1 interception, but that's just something that happens when you throw into a crowd a little bit. Playing an outstanding game at that quarterback position.
Barris wide to the right inside of him. Sabrocco the give on the counter to Julian, and Julian thrown down at the 42-yard line. It's knocked down there by Dave Diebold. It'll be 4th down, and West G will be forced to punt.
Yeah, that played in full Mayfield at all. You tried a little misdirection counter. They just hung it home. You can't get by those defensive ends. Diebold that time slid over from his linebacker position, helped plug, and there's just no place to go when you run into 6'4", 6'5", 240-pound players. You can't fight your way through them very often.
Here's a friendly reminder to all of our Cablevision subscribers. Cablevision's customer service office is ready to serve you Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. Customers in Bainbridge, South Russell, and Russell can call toll-free at 946-2722. Customers in the Chardon area can reach us at our office at 285-3188. In case of emergency, you can call 24 hours a day, Monday through Sunday. Remember, for business office concerns, call Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 at 946-2722 or 285-3188. Cablevision thanks you for your patronage and hopes you enjoy tonight's game. It'll be 4th down, and Rick Rowan will punt for West Geauga. Deep to receive for Mayfield, Joe Perko and Michael White, or that's Angolia rather than White, and Angolia takes the ball at the 32-yard line. He had to kneel to catch it, so he'll be down right there. It'll be 1st and 10 for Mayfield at the Mayfield 32-yard line.
Yeah, it's too bad his knee hit down. He had a little bit of running room. The only person in the vicinity, again, was Nick Lorenzo, who seems to have a knack for breaking free, getting down there in that punt coverage, doing a good job again. Now it's up to the Mayfield offense, see if they can kick it in again, and up to the West Geauga defense to see if they can continue to play fine as they've been doing throughout the game.
Wide to the right comes Perko, wide to the left is White, tight to the left is Diebold, and left in the T, and now right is Angolia, and the give is to Angolia across the 30 out to the 35, up to about the 36-yard line. He picked up 4 yards, maybe 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down for the Mayfield Wildcats.
Yeah, Angolian is, he just continues to impress me tremendously. He's not flashy, he doesn't have great moves, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, but boy, he sure gets the job done. I don't know exactly what it is, he's just got a knack for getting the ball down the field.
This is an overused term, but he has a quick first step. And right now, we're going to have to take a quick timeout because that's the end of the 3rd quarter with our score. Mayfield 14, West Geauga 12. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision.
Which is rather small, but he's built low to the ground, strong runner. He's hard to grab hold of being down that low. He's impressive. That's about all I can say. He just does a heck of a fine job out there.
1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. Wide to the left is White, wide to the right is Perko, tight to the right is Diebold. And the give is to Froboda to cross the midfield to about the 49-yard line. And it'll be 2nd down, and let's call it 8 yards to go. Frank Formicelli, number 79, made the
almost had a shot at pulling him down for about a 3-yard loss. Just quite couldn't wrap around and do it. Again, that shows the penetration by the front line of West Geauga. If they continue this, they're going to freeze Mayfield in this area.
2nd down and 8. Wide to the left comes Perko. Wide to the right is White. Farinacci rolling to his right, steps up, fires. It is caught by Diebold, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Dave Diebold knocked out of bounds over on the sideline by Jeff Pitcock. They've done an outstanding job on Diebold tonight, has the West Geauga defense, but that time he was able to make his first really big play of the ball game.
Yeah, that was the type of play, Joe, that they utilized the height of him. They throw the sideline pattern, throw it well up in the air where other players can't really get to it quite as easily because he's got quite a reach on him and all. Nice, safe little pattern to run with a tight end of that size.
1st down and 10 at the 37. Wide to the left is Perko. In the slot left is White. Tight to the right is Diebold. Up is Forboda, and back is Ngolia. There's the give to Ngolia across the 35 to the 34-yard line. He's thrown down by Frank Formicelli after a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, Frank Kalo came out of his nose tackle position. Again, had a shot at Ngolia in the backfield. Slipped off again. He's a very, very elusive runner, hard to corral, as I think a lot of the West Geauga players are determining this evening.
Second down and 10, or 2nd down and 7 rather, at the 34-yard line. Drifting back is Farinacci under heavy pressure, and he's thrown down by Formicelli. At least Formicelli got him first. He also had help on the play from Mike Petronis. A loss on the play back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 14.
And again, our friend Daryl Kalura was in on that particular play. They surrounded, found out that quarterback Farinacci isn't quite as elusive as Ngolia is. You grab hold of him, and you're actually holding on to something when you look up.
3rd down and 14 at the 41-yard line. Wide to the left comes White. Wide to the right is Perko. Tight to the left is Diebold. In the slot right is Ngolia. And drifting to his right to throw is Farinacci. Steps up, fires. It's underthrown and incomplete. Intended for Ngolia. Ngolia was well covered on the play. Would have had trouble catching the ball even had it been on target. It'll be 4th down. The West Geauga defense comes through with a big play, and Mayfield will be forced to punt.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, I don't think that was a badly thrown pass. I think that was a smartly thrown pass. Quarterback Farinacci had no place to go. They had him sealed in up there. He just kind of threw it in the general direction of a back just to keep from taking a loss.
Again, Dave Diebold will do the kicking. Deep to receive for West Geauga, Steve Darris and John Julian. It's a high sailing punt by Diebold down toward the coffin corner, and I believe it will roll out of bounds
about the 3 or 4
inside the 5-yard line at about the 3.
Beautiful, beautiful angle kick by Diebold, something that is hard to work on even for a pro punter, and to see a high school player come up with a punt like that, the basic coffin corner kick, is very, very impressive.
Well, as the old song said, it's a long, long way from May to December. And it's also a long, long way for West Geauga from the 3-yard line to the Mayfield goal. They have 9 minutes and 20 seconds to do it. And they've got to come up with a drive right here. And the give is to Rick Rowan, and Rowan is thrown down back around the 1-yard line. In fact, he was very nearly, no, that was Julian rather, he was very nearly thrown into the end zone.
Yeah, I think he lost about 1.5 yards on that particular play, Joe. Good reading by the right side of Mayfield's defense, who came up, read the play properly, fight off the blocks, and just came up and threw tailback Julian for a loss.
3rd down, we'll call it about the 2-yard line. 2nd and 11 for West Geauga. The give is to Julian. He fights his way over the 5 out to about the 7. He picked up 4 or 5 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting call. This is dangerous territory. You don't want to have a chance for a turnover. So far, the kicking game from West Geauga hasn't been quite up to what Coach Poe's guy is expecting of it. So it's hard to say if he will try to get the first down on a passing play or something to get out of the hole, because he quite doesn't have the faith in his kicking game. We'll see what he comes up with on this particular play.
3rd down and 8. In the slot left is Sabraco. Wide to the right is Roethlisberger. And we're going to have rolling to his right is Quinlan. And Quinlan fumbled the ball. I believe they're going to call it, well, now they're going to call it an incomplete pass, I think. It'll be called an incomplete pass. It'll bring up 4th down. And Rick Rowan will be forced to punt from deep in his own end zone.
Yeah, to tell you the truth on that particular one, Joe, I'd say it's a very interesting non-call, where they called intentional grounding earlier. I seriously didn't feel it was. This time I think he had more of a case to call it intentional grounding, but no flag. This is a point where West Geauga definitely could use a good punt to get it out of there. I doubt very much if Mayfield will come for it, because they're going to have good position regardless.
West G needs an outstanding kick from Rick Rowan, and they get a high, fairly short kick. Fair catch made by Angolia at the 34-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 34, and we will be back here on Cablevision after this timeout with our score: Mayfield 14, West Geauga 12.
Hello, I'm Warren Babcock.
Farinacci gives the ball to Angolia. Angolia gets to the 31-yard line, and he's thrown down nicely by big Frank Formicelli, the senior.
I don't know. I wouldn't call that nicely. I think it was a rather rude taken down by Formicelli. He just kept driving back, saying, I got hold of you. I'm not letting you go till I hear a whistle, and I'm going to throw you down. It was a real good, aggressive football playing by Formicelli, who's also done a very, very good job at that tackle position tonight.
Well, just a figure of speech, I guess, John. Frank might not have been nice about it, but he did it nicely, as in nicely done. Rolling to his right is Farinacci, and he delivers it a bit low to Angolia, who can't come up with the catch. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, I see the, excuse me. They sent in Brett Schultz, their safety man, on that one. So Coach Poe's guy is pulling all the stops tonight, using safety blitzes, sending the cornerback on occasion. We've seen the linebackers coming every now and then.
Third and 7. Wide to the left comes Perko. Wide to the right is White. Diebold moves tight to the right. It's Ferboda up, and Angolia back in the eye. Farinacci to throw, dumps it short to Angolia. West Geauga defense read it perfectly. And number 88, Mike Kristoff, was right there, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, that was an excellent read. Kristoff played off it, read the screen, dropped behind, got his hit in at the proper time with the sure hands, dropping for a loss. This is an excellent playing into the game properly by the West Geauga defense, who did an absolutely outstanding job on that. Keeping Mayfield from having a good position, knocking them back, getting the ball back for the offense to do their work.
4th down. Once again, Dave Diebold will punt. This time rolling it down toward the coffin corner, and again we'll roll inside the 5. Well, now it finally rolled across the end line, I believe. At least that's how it looks to me, just barely. West Geauga saved by the bell, just an inch of ground in time.
I'll tell you, that was, I'm sure Coach Poe's guy in the sideline was saying, roll, you son of a gun, roll, because that ball kind of hit and just died in the general vicinity. It could have been one of those that was spotted on the 3-inch line or so. Fortunately for West Geauga, it had just enough oomph in it to cross over the goal line.
Well, Diebold has already pinned West G deep once this quarter, and he darn near did it again, but just like horseshoes, not like horseshoes, close doesn't count, and it's 1st and 10 from the 20. Here's the give to Julian. Julian out to about the 23-yard line. Wrapped up in there by Jim DeLella. Gain of 3, it'll be 2nd and 7.
I'll tell you, if that play was left in the goal line, that really makes it rough. West Geauga's got to get down at least in the field goal range so they can give a shot at 3 to take the lead. And it's tough to do when your back's to the goal line, and if that had happened the second time, it just might have taken a lot of momentum out of them. Now they get the field position, see what they can do with it, if they can get play options open up to get a good gain and move the ball down in the scoring position.
Second down and 7 for West Geauga. Wide to the left is Sobracco. Wide to the right is Veris, and the pass intended for Sobracco, and we're going to have a flag. Dennis Polomsky a bit too aggressive in his pass coverage. It'll be pass interference, and that'll give West Geauga first down.
Yeah, I'd have to say that was cornerback Perko on that particular play, and he just climbed. On that occasion, he wasn't going ball. He was just hitting the man. Hit him before the ball arrived. Consequently, the yellow came down, and that helps West Geauga a lot. They were having a little trouble getting it unwinded. Little help from your friends on the Mayfield side might get them motivated enough to move the ball on their own in the scoring position.
First and 10 at the 37-yard line on the pass interference penalty. West G breaks the huddle. Roethlisberger comes wide to the right. Wide to the left is Sobracco. On the slot left is Blasey. Now Sobracco comes in motion left. The pitch is to Julian on the left side, 35 up to the 40. It's thrown down there by Dennis Polomsky after a gain of 3. It'll be second down, and well, actually they're going to call it more like a gain of 4. So we'll say it's second down and 6 yards to go.
You know, I keep seeing that where they have the ends pitched in. Julian cuts to the outside, then cuts against the grain in the middle. So almost, I'm not 100% sure that's not a designed play. It just seems like he's looking, reading, finding a little lane, hitting himself, but that may be designed to be run that particular way. We cut out, counter against the grain, and get a gain out of it, but it's working, whatever it is.
Second down and 6. Rolling to his left as Quinlan steps up, fires. It is caught. It is caught by the senior tight end, Matt Blasey, making, I believe, his first catch of the evening, and it's a big one. It gives West Geauga a first down at the Mayfield 47-yard line.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm impressed with this quarterback, Quinn. What do you think of him tonight, Joe?
He's playing pretty well, I'll tell you. He really is, John Quinlan.
Yeah, he throws the ball well. He throws it smartly, finds his receiver, reads well, moves on his feet. You know, when Mayfield is giving pressure, sidesteps him, steps up a little bit.
He's quick, and he's got a pretty strong arm, and he can deliver the ball accurately. Sobracco comes in motion right. Wide to the left is Roethlisberger. Here's the pitch to Rick Rowan across the 45 down to the 42-yard line. Knocked down there first by Chuck Amato. Amato took his legs out from under him. And then our friend, Big Paul Long, came in to smother Rowan and make the tackle, but not before he picked up a gain of 5. Gain of 5 for Rick Rowan. It'll be second and 5 for West Geauga at the Mayfield 42-yard line. Clock continuing to run here in this ball game. Under 4 minutes to play, 3 minutes and 55 seconds to play in the ball game. Wide to the right comes Veris. Wide to the left is Sobracco. Tight to the left is Blasey. Lorenzo left and Julian right in the tee. The pitch to Julian coming left across the 35. He's down to the 32. Wrapped up there by Rich Vodasek, number 41. And I believe that Julian picked up enough yardage for a West Geauga first down.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. That was a good job. I didn't see one of the twin towers on the end that time. Sorry I missed exactly who it was and put the good block to keep them out of the play, but they got around the corner. This West Geauga team is doing a good job. They're doing a good job of mixing in their plays also. They're throwing a pass at the right time, cutting to the inside, going to the outside whenever possible, and just mixing up plays real well, executing very, very well. And they're a very, very much improved team over last year.
It is first down for the Wolverines of West Geauga. Wide to the right is Roethlisberger. Wide to the left is Sobracco. Here's the pitch to Julian, looking to throw it across field. He gets it to Quinlan on the flea flicker. Quinlan down to the 30-yard line. They picked up about 7-8 yards on the play. It'll be second down and short yardage for West Geauga.
Yeah, isn't that the old, who was that ran there? Was that Schuler or Landry that ran that pass? I think it was Schuler. They ran a little pass to the quarterback going out around outside. Well, people tend to fall asleep. Not really. Nobody has the responsibility of covering a quarterback. So it's an effective play when you can sneak it in, but you can't overuse it.
And I also think that's the play they were trying to run when John Julian fumbled earlier in the ball game. Here's the give once again now to Rick Salk. Rick Salk down around the 28-yard line. He will not have enough for the first down, I don't believe. It'll be close, but I think the officials are going to call for a measurement here.
Yeah, we have a bad angle, Joe, but I'd say, like you said, I don't think he made it either. I'd put him about a foot and a half short. We'll have to see how this shakes out. Either way, it would only be, I'm sure West Geauga will definitely go for it if they don't get it. Well, it's all academic.
And it's also a first down. 1st and 10 for West G. Across the 30 at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, this is a nice drive they're putting together. They're eating up clock. They still have plenty of time with just a second short of 3 minutes left on the clock. And this is just working out beautifully for West Geauga. They're putting together an excellent, excellent evening of football tonight.
1st and 10. Here's the give to Julian. Big hole across the left side, and Jim Julian is down around the 20-yard line. And another good gain for West G of about 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, I imagine we'll probably see a lot of Julian at this time with a little mixing in of the fullback, Lorenzo. Because we'll want to play a nice, safe game down here. You don't want to turn the ball over at this particular time. You're sitting close to field goal range, and we're not sure how their kicker is on the field goal end. We'll see if the occasion arises, whether he can come up to it.
Clock continuing to run. We're down near the 2-minute mark. The give to Lorenzo. He's wrapped up for no gain by a horde of Mayfield defenders.
I see a flag thrown on that. It's either, I would guess, a face mask where he reached in, or a holding call.
Flags are flying, and it's a bad flag for West Geauga. A hold.
Yeah, that hurts. That really does hurt. Nullifying that nice game on a previous play by Julian, where they get down in comfortable playing range, essentially, where you got 3 down just to gain the 3.5 yards necessary for the first down. Now we're moved all the way back where we got to gain 13-14 for the first down.
Second down for West Geauga. We'll make it 13 yards to go. The ball back at the 30-yard line. Wide to the left comes Roethlisberger. In the slot right, Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. And once again, Quinlan dropping to throw. Steps into the pocket, fires. It is caught by Blasey, and he is close to the yardage that he needs for a first down. Down inside the 20-yard line near the Mayfield 18. He's close to a first down and may very well have it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, now they gave it to him, first down. And a timeout being called by West Geauga. Those guys look down on the field, Joe. You see West Geauga players dancing around. They're excited. They're pumped. They know they're doing it.
They've got the ball game and their destiny right in their own hands right here. 1:42 to play in the game. And
Geauga Fitness and Racket Club.
1:42 to play in the ball game, and flags are flying.
I don't know what that was. I saw it, referee came, pointed to the safety man. Is there a mouthpiece rule in high school football that you know of?
Yes, I believe there is.
I would get, if there happens to be one, that's my guess on what the particular call was on that, because I have no idea what else it could have been. All I know is
involving unsportsmanlike conduct, I think, because I saw the referee put the hand up behind his head, you know, like this, John.
Oh, is that right?
And it's might have been an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Mayfield.
What had it been for lip service, nothing else that I could think of.
Maybe some activities going back there in the defensive backfield that were not so nice, so to speak. Here's the give to Julian, and flags fly again as Julian is thrown down around the 10-yard line.
Well, that's unfortunate. You know, before this particular series, it really had been not too many flags thrown. It's been a well-played ball game. Both teams executing well, playing smartly. All of a sudden, we're seeing yellow fly in on about every game. It's unfortunate it could come down to this. Hopefully, boys will settle down, stop making little mental mistakes, get back into playing good, straight up, clean football.
Well, the penalty against West Geauga. They'll take the ball back out beyond the 20 to about the 22-yard line. What was that, a holding penalty, John?
Yeah, that's what he called
a holding penalty. It'll be first down and about 15 for West G. Quinlan to throw, steps up, fires, caught by Lorenzo, 15 down to the 10-yard line. And Nick Lorenzo gets a good gain for West G. Not enough for a first down, but a big play. It'll be second down and 3 for the Wolverines at the Mayfield 10-yard line.
I'll tell you, these pass patterns are getting them open. You're getting good reception. Lorenzo on that made a nice catch and a very, very spirited run on that afterwards, trying to get something out of it. He just fought. You could see he was sniffing goal line, trying to get himself in there. Good running by Lorenzo.
And now West G is called for a timeout with 1 minute and 7 seconds to play in the ball game.
Geauga Fitness and Racket.
You'll see high school football, Geauga County High School football, every Monday, and I believe it's every Monday and Wednesday night now at 7 p.m. on Channel 9, Cablevision Channel 9. 1:07 to play here in the ball game. The pitch to John Julian. Julian is inside the 10, down near the 8. He's thrown down there by a horde of Mayfield tacklers, particularly Dave Lasitko, number 75. It'll bring up third down. It is third down for West G, and once again, John Quinlan, who's made some big plays in this ball game, is going to have to pull the rabbit out of the hat. The clock is running, 40 seconds to play. Quinlan gives the ball up the middle to Lorenzo, and he is very, very close to the first down, and I believe we're going to have a measurement here to see whether West G got the first down, and we're going to have a West G timeout right here with 32 seconds to play in the game. I believe they came up short of the first down, John.
I think you're right, Joe. I don't think he got it, and it's definitely decision time now for Coach Poe's guy. Go for the 3 or take the shot at it. We'll see what his faith is in his kicking game at this moment.
Mike Poe's guy in his 3rd season as head coach of the West Geauga Wolverines. Graduated from West Geauga in 1967, continued his playing career for 4 years after that while attending college at Purdue. Coached for the Wolverines for 9 seasons as an assistant before moving on to Hiram College, where he was offensive coordinator. Then he was the head coach at Akron Coventry High School for 2 years before returning to his alma mater as athletic director in 1983, and he took over the football program after Bob Quackenbush resigned to become head coach at Ashland High School prior to the 1984 season. 32 seconds to play in the ball game.
Go for it.
And they're going to, well, you got to go for it and say in this situation. This is your ball game right here. 4th and 2 for West Geauga. Rolling to his right is Quinlan. He steps up and he's going to be thrown down in the backfield by Paul Long. Paul Long has made a lot of big plays tonight, but none of them bigger than that one. And with 27 seconds to play in the ball game, that may very well have clinched the Mayfield victory.
I believe so, Joe, because if I understand, I don't think West Geauga has any timeouts left. All Mayfield will have to do is sit down on the ball, one play, ball game over. But to their defense, they are definitely a much improved club. Somebody in the beginning of the season I really didn't consider in being in the running in the CBC off of last year's record. They're so improved, I have to say they're definitely going to be a factor in the CBC chase this year. They played an outstanding football game this evening.
I believe West Geauga still has at least one timeout remaining. They've just called it with 18 seconds to play, but I believe that is their final timeout. Once again, we'd like to thank the marvelous Cablevision crew, our standing interns there, Bill and Brian. Greg Ross running the lead camera there tonight. Greg pressed into service, calling the big shots. Mark Dolan, our director in the truck. Dave Jevnikar, general manager of Cablevision, down here at the ball game to help out as usual. And of course our lovely assistant Faith Walders up here with us in the booth. And it's been a lot of fun as always. It's fun every time we get together for these ball games, and of course I won't forget John Walsh. I almost forgot to mention you, John.
That's quite all right, Joe.
Wasn't very nice of me, but I did.
Just say goodnight on our way home. That's all I asked for. Again, we got to play tribute to this West Geauga squad who has played an outstanding game. Before the year, we said Kinston was the team to beat. At least on the scoreboard, you got to say West Geauga right now played Mayfield tougher than Kinston played them. So, whereas I put West Geauga in the standings, I'd say well up there.
18 seconds to play in the ball game, and I think that's going to be our final play as Farinacci sits on the ball, and that will be it. Clock is running. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. The ball game is over. And in spite of a valiant effort by the West Geauga Wolverines, the Wildcats of Mayfield have prevailed. Our final score here at Stretch Howell Field at West Geauga High School in Chesterland is Mayfield 14, West Geauga 12. And once again, a reminder, tonight's game was brought to you in part by Junction Auto Sales, automotive service professionals in Geauga County since 1931. By Geauga Fitness and Racket Club, the fun place to stay in shape. By Destination Travel, your ticket away this fall. And by Century 21 On the Square Realty. Put number 1 to work for you. Once again, for my partner John Walsh and all of our outstanding Cablevision crew, we'll see you again next week with more high school football Monday and Wednesday at 7 on Cablevision Channel 9. Until then, this is Joe Scarola bidding you good evening until next time.
Good night.